the forgotten city that defied an empire, the untold story of Zheng He's secret treasure fleet. In the early 15th century, while Europe was clawing its way out of the Dark Ages, another world power was already touching the edges of the known world, and then mysteriously vanished from history. This is the story of a fleet so massive, so advanced, and so mysterious that historians still struggle to explain why it was erased from the pages of time. It began not with war, but with silk, porcelain, spice, and ambition. In 1405, under the orders of the Yongle Emperor of China's Ming Dynasty, a fleet of ships set sail from Nanjing, but these weren't ordinary ships. They were floating cities, some stretching over 400 feet long, nearly 5 times the size of Columbus's flagship, the Santa Maria. The man leading them? A former slave, a Muslim, a eunuch, and perhaps one of the greatest admirals to ever live. His name was Zheng He. Born in 1371 in Yunnan province, Zheng He was captured as a boy by Ming soldiers. His family was Muslim. His faith never left him, but his status was stripped away. He was castrated, enslaved, and sent to the imperial palace. Where others would have been broken, Zheng He rose. Through loyalty, intelligence, and courage, he gained the trust of the emperor. And then, the sea became his kingdom. Between 1405 and 1433, Zheng He commanded 7 epic voyages across the Indian Ocean, from China to Vietnam, to India, to Arabia, and all the way to East Africa. His ships weren't built for battle, but for awe. They carried silks, porcelain, gold, and letters from the emperor offering peace and friendship. And they returned with giraffes, zebras, exotic spices, and legends of foreign lands. He visited over 30 countries. No other explorer of the time could claim such reach. He didn't colonize. He didn't conquer. He connected. In Calicut, India, he built diplomatic ties. In Malacca, he protected local rulers from pirates. In Hormuz, he stunned the Persians with ships so grand they seemed to darken the harbor. But in his 4th voyage came something more ominous. Off the coast of Sri Lanka, Zheng He encountered King Alakeshvara, a ruler known for his hostility toward foreign powers. When diplomacy failed, Zheng He launched a surprise attack. He captured the king and brought him back to China. It was the only time Zheng He used force, and it was devastatingly effective. Still, his legacy was one of peace. His expeditions were about showing the world the glory of Ming China. Then suddenly, it all stopped. After his final voyage in 1433, the massive treasure fleet was ordered to dock permanently. The records were archived, the ships were left to rot, and China turned inward. Why? Historians debate to this day. Some say it was politics. The Confucian scholars saw the voyages as wasteful extravagance. Others say it was fear that contact with foreign cultures would disrupt China's harmony, but perhaps it was something more chilling. In the decades after Zheng He's death, imperial edicts banned oceanic voyages. Any ship with more than 2 masts was destroyed. Cartographers were executed, and Zheng He's records were burned. It was as if the state had decided to erase the memory of the greatest seafaring empire the world had ever known. Meanwhile, across the globe, the age of discovery had begun. Portugal, Spain, Britain. Their explorers would follow the very routes Zheng He had mapped, but they came not with gifts, but with guns. And what if China had continued those voyages? What if Zheng He had reached Europe before Columbus reached the Americas? What if the peaceful armadas of the Ming Dynasty had shaped the world instead of empires of conquest? A fleet 5 times the size of the Spanish Armada, disbanded. An empire with the ability to circumnavigate the globe, silenced. A man who united oceans and cultures, forgotten. But Zheng He's legend still whispers in the waves. In East Africa, tales of massive dragon ships still pass through generations. In Malacca, a temple still stands where locals believe Zheng He prayed. And in the hearts of historians, the question lingers. What would the world look like if China had never turned its back on the sea? Empires are often remembered by the wars they fought. But some of the most powerful legacies are those that never needed a battlefield. Zheng He proved that greatness can sail not with swords, but with open hands. And perhaps in remembering him, we can imagine a world led not by dominance, but by diplomacy. A world that almost was, and still could be, still